All right, guys, somebody sent me this video recently. It's called Kid Behind the Camera, or just Kid Behind Camera. An angry grandpa, the original daddy of 5. Quite an accusation. This video is from Cuestar. So I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely curious. That is so funny. I don't really know anything about anybody here, so this will be fun. Let's get this going.
Kid behind a camera.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to turn myself down. Wow, that was really messed up. Jesus Christ. What the hell?
And angry grandpa are not what they seem. If you're not familiar with Angry Grandpa and Kid Behind a Camera, they're best known for their freak-out videos. You know, Angry Grandpa will get mad at Kid Behind a Camera, a.k.a. Michael, and he'll freak out and destroy some of his stuff like he's destroying this PS4 right now. And it's all kind of framed as a joke. You know, we're all in on it.
I mean, listen, man, here's what I'm going to say. First, before we get into it, Daddy, I was never against, like, the pranking your kids stuff. I love it. It's funny to me when people prank kids and they, you know, they trip their kids on the floor and they laugh at them and stuff. I think it's funny. It just gets to a point where it becomes like psychological torture. That's where I have a problem with it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, it's the same. Because Daddy of 5 was crazy.
We know that Angry Grandpa's not actually this angry, and this destruction of property is only going to get them tons of views, and whatever money that they make off of AdSense is going to heavily outweigh the price of that destroyed PS4. But I think that all of this
and that fucking table,
anger and destruction comes from a very real place, and we have a lot of evidence to back that up here today.
Shit.
And before we get into the gritty details, the evidence of abuse that has occurred on these channels, and what I believe to be the psychology behind why you would broadcast this to the internet, I would just like to give a major shout out to Primink, because if I had not seen his video, Kid Behind a Camera, The Untold Abuse Story, I would have no idea what was going on here. It's an amazing video, and I highly recommend you check it out.
Maybe we'll take a look at that later.
Also, Roasted Studios created a compilation of abuse that has occurred at the hands of Kid Behind a Camera.
Well, we're calling it abuse, but I mean, I have to see it first. You know, I gotta see it for myself, guys. I gotta see it for myself. Primic, Kid Behind a Camera, Kid Behind a Camera, Kid Behind the Camera. You know what the? What the frick, dude? Maybe we'll watch this one like after as part of the segment.
An Angry Grandpa, and that video that she created was actually removed for community guidelines violations. And there are theories that that was Kid Behind the Camera flagging that video to try and cover up the truth, but those are...
Here's my thing. That's a good point. My thing is unless it's worse than what Goku did to his kid, then I don't care. You know what I mean? Throw him into the wild and see if he survives. If it's not that, it's not abuse to me. You know?
Or just theories. There's no way to prove that. And there will be links to Primink's video and Roasted Studios channel in the description. But let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Let's get into the disgusting behavior that has been displayed by both Angry Grandpa and Kid Behind a Camera. And I just wanted to establish really quickly that all...
Bad angle, brother. You got to do the Decepticon picture as a fat dude. You got to do one of the up tops. You know what I'm saying?
All of these clips are from like 2011 and before, which is just a thing to note. What you're about to see is a clip of an Angry Grandpa Christmas freakout, and if you're familiar with the Angry Grandpa channel, this is not at all out of character. They do these every single year, but this is a very different Angry Grandpa that you might not be familiar with, and I will warn you, actual abuse does occur in this clip. It's not severe, but it is there, and they decided to broadcast it to their YouTube channel.
Well, I'm expecting nothing short of incredible racism, because everybody's grandpa is very racist. So if I don't see that, I feel like I've been cheated here.
Throw shit at me! Throw shit back! You don't throw that at your goddamn bottle! You understand me? You don't gotta be a queer! What?
Oh, there we go.
Queer! He ain't queer! He ain't...
Guys, this isn't good. This isn't good. Toy truck thrown at a child. Okay. Okay. Where'd he throw the toy truck at him?
I keep putting that present back.
Okay, yeah, it's not good.
I'm tired of shit. All y'all ever do is buy them gay shit. Fuck you, man. This goddamn... I'm part of Christmas. Whoa! Gotta think I'm good.
Jesus
So as
Christ.
you can see, he calls the kid homophobic slurs over and over again and then throws packages at him.
Yeah, I mean, is that abuse? I don't know. I mean, it's not good. I don't know how much of it is a joke and how much of it is real. I'm not surprised that like a fucking 90-year-old man is calling somebody queer. Like, I'm not really like, it's not ideal, but I'm not super offended. Like, I don't know. I'm also not gay. I guess I have no right to be offended or not offended. But I just feel like, you know, that's like the expectation, no? Right? That's like normal. I feel like that's normal. That's not as bad as what I've heard. That's all I'll say. Shit. Some of these old people are fucking wild.
And then throws a toy truck at him. And I'm not sure if the kid that was hit by the Christmas tree was the same child or another grandchild of Angry Grandpa.
You're
But
offended?
it's disgusting behavior. I mean, clearly there's a problem here. And I think it's important to note that what we're seeing here, and there's way more to go over in this video, is just what they felt comfortable sharing with us on YouTube. I can't imagine.
How long was that core video from? How many years ago was that? I wonder. Like, was that like yesterday or was that like 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Because that kind of edgy humor was more acceptable back then, whether you like it or not. That's what happens when you play like the line of edginess is like when you play the line obviously like the content's acceptability like, shifts very quickly. So like if you're playing the line in 2020, by 2022, that's going to be considered incredibly offensive. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying
what's going on behind the scenes that they don't feel comfortable showing us. And I think one of the biggest reasons why they felt comfortable sharing this footage with us on YouTube is that abuse was normalized in this household. You're about to hear two of the stories of two of Angry Grandpa's children, Michael, kid behind a camera, and Jessica, his daughter, about their stories
Did you get Starbucks, babe? Now get us sushi.
of abuse at the hands of Angry Grandpa, and they tell these stories as if they're like funny, nostalgic experiences. It's super disturbing, and let's hear what they have to say.
And Dad's like, I said shut the fuck up! And he takes this jar, and he throws it, and my sister ducks, and then here I am, and it crashes in my fucking face.
Damn, brother.
So yeah, holy shit, that's a
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's the problem. You know, I grew up a little when I was a little younger. My mom used to, you know, hit me a lot and stuff. And you know, we like unironically went to therapy at one point when I got into my young teens, and the behavior changed. Obviously, it was the wrong thing to do. My mother realized it. You know what I mean? But it can be difficult raising a kid. But it's just kind of like something like this is like normal to me. I guess probably a bad thing. It's not like normal, but it's like okay. You know what I mean? We all grew up a little tough. We all got our ass kicked a little bit. You know what I mean? So.
Lot to unpack. Michael was hit in the face with a glass jar thrown at him by Angry Grandpa, and he's laughing about it. I mean, yes, maybe the imagery in retrospect could be funny, especially since it happened to you, and maybe you're just trying to, like, not think about how fucked up that is, but that is not normal whatsoever. Like, yeah, I know back in the day when these guys were growing up, it was, like, normal to spank your kid, maybe, smack them in the face if they're getting really out of line.
Hit him with a phone, all this fucking crazy shit, brother. All this crazy shit.
Throwing a glass jar at a child is never normal. That is not okay.
I never
in
had a
any
glass jar
time in
thrown at me.
history. And normally I'd feel
well, I'm sure it was okay during like Prohibition times, you know.
super bad for Michael, and I do feel bad for the child version of Michael, but the problem was he was a victim of abuse, and then he became the abuser himself. And once you become the abuser, you are no longer a victim. You're the person that is going to be creating another victim that could then become an abuser themselves, and it's just a vicious cycle. Like, I would bet all my...
Listen, based off of what we saw so far, nobody's a fucking abuser. That was obviously a very inappropriate moment from Grandpa. You know, but I mean, I feel like we're throwing these words around a little heavily. It is a little crazy. I'm not saying it's ideal, you know, but I do find it so crazy that like in our culture, we have Reformation culture for literal fucking gang murderers. But if you were a less than stellar parent or, you know, said a bad word once, all of a sudden you're a fucking abusive person. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy fuck. I don't know if I'd go as far to call this like this fucking abuse, but okay.
My money in the world that Angry Grandpa was probably also abused horrifically as a child. But let's hear,
especially since it's one of those things where unfortunately like back then like shit, you know, bad practices weren't considered abuse back in the day. you know? And so, like, you know, I don't know. It's a whole conversation to get into of like how, because he's talking about how they're active abusers in a way where like they're bad people, and it's like, okay, if we acknowledge that this was like more normal back in the day, like maybe society was the was more at fault than the yeah, we're gonna have to than the parents themselves. I'm just saying, dude. I feel like abuse, throwing around the word they're abusive people, I just feel like it's a little disproportionate in my opinion.
Hear what Jennifer has to say because it's equally disturbing.
It was so freezing because I was always like this skinny little thing, and I never had any meat on my bones. So what I would do is I would take my blanket and go and turn up the heat like full blast. And then one day my dad finally got tired of it, and I was laying on the air vent, and all of a sudden all I hear was, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Stupid fucking bitch!" And then like Daddy just like kicks the shit out of me. I'm sorry that I'm cussing,
Jesus
but
Christ.
that's what happens. And then, you know, my dad like kicks the shit out of me, and then yanks the blanket off of me. And says,
Why? Because she was like using electricity?
"Goddamn bitch, Jenny!" Picks me up and throws me against the wall. You know, legs go flying, arms go this way and go that way. I was like, holy fucking shit. And then, so, like, my dad, like, he was this was back when he was, mean and drunk, you know? I know, he didn't mean to do it. It was just the alcohol talking.
This is really just such a sign of how normalized this abuse is that she's apologizing to us for cursing in a story about her father horrifically abusing her. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, listen, first of all, yeah, there has to be some kind of a cope. But second of all, like, yeah, it sounds like he was an alcoholic. It doesn't mean that he's not a piece of shit for abusing his kids, though. That's obviously shitty. Hopefully he's not on alcohol anymore, though, because holy fuck, that's fucking crazy.
Kicking the shit out of your child, like actually kicking your kid while they're on the ground and then throwing them against a wall, that's absolutely disgusting. Alcohol is not an excuse for that. Alcoholism is not an excuse for that. That is horrific behavior, and that is a sign of just a prolific abuser, and I'm absolutely disgusted to hear these stories, especially how nonchalantly they're telling them. Nonchalantly, I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm...
Well, yeah, it is, but like, what do you want them to do? Cry about it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, it sucks. That sucks. I don't know. I just feel like everybody, unfortunately, goes through some fucked up shit like that. A lot of stuff like that going on in people's lives, and sometimes it's just like, damn, brother, you know? That's all I gotta say. It's like, fuck. You know, that shit sucks. You know what I'm saying, dude?
I'm just really fucking angry right now.
Was this video made right after the dad died? Was it? How long? When did Angry Grandpa die? It's 2017. Interesting.
And moving on from the abuse at the hands of Angry Grandpa, which is a touchy subject because Angry Grandpa passed away a year ago and he's like a World War II vet and stuff. And thank you for your...
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be fucking World War II vet. I wonder how much fucking PTSD this motherfucker has on him, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, sometimes the military will ask you to exchange your mental health, you know, in order to protect the country. At least World War II was a just war, so, you know.
Your service. I'm sorry that you're dead. Rest in peace. But also, you abused your children and grandchildren, and therefore I am not a fan of you, sir. But let's move on to the abuse at the hands of Michael, Kid Behind a Camera. Now, forgive me because all of this is going to be disgusting, but I'm going to show the first clip that we showed at the beginning of this video because I think it's the most damning piece of evidence, but everything that you're about to see is just absolutely disgusting. I keep saying disgusting, but I just can't think of another word for this sort of behavior.
Okay, this pushed his kids a little rude, but Jesus Christ.
So yes,
he
pushes this child that can't be older than 2 or 3 years old by his face onto the ground, which is just, why the fuck would you do that and upload it to YouTube? I mean, I'm kind of glad that he uploaded it to YouTube so we can have some insight into the horrible world that exists in this household. And then he goes for the foot on the face, kind of reminiscent of A Christmas Story when Santa pushes the kid down the slide by his face with his foot. But it's just...
Oh, maybe that was the joke he was going for and it just fell flat? Just like the kid.
When it's happening to a 2-year-old kid and you can see his head like snapping backwards, it's just, why? Why are you doing this to such a small child? What's going through your head? Genuinely,
Probably
my
money,
only
clicks, and
guess
views.
is that he thought this was funny. He thought that people were going to laugh at this. Oh, there's funny Christmas music in the background. Oh, I'm pushing my child onto the ground. I'm putting my foot into my child's face aggressively. Isn't this so silly? Aren't I a comedic genius? God damn it. And the next set of clips that we're going to look at all comes from the Life with Mikey show channel, which is a second or third channel that KidBehindaCamera created, where he dresses up as Michael Myers and pretty much just scares the shit out of his small nephews. And it gets physical as well, and it's just, ugh.
Life with Mikey, good
Okay.
life, good times. Life with Mikey, good times.
Can I please get out, please? Not until it gets dark.
Okay.
Hey Jay, wanna see what we're getting Papa for Christmas? Huh? I slapped him then.
What was that? It was just silly string.
I get out of hell. Yes, I'll go to hell and chill with Kurt Cobain himself.
Okay.
And I just wanted to point out,
That looks like a fake knife. Hold on a second. We gotta do our investigating. We gotta do our investigative journalism here. Is that a real knife or a fake knife? Because it kind of looks fake. If it was a real knife, it'd be more. Is that real? Oh shit, that might be a real knife. What the fuck? What the fuck? Is this real? Was this a Vine? I'm just trying to look at like the glare. It looks like there's glare on that. Was this a real knife? What the fuck? Why would you use a fake, like a prop? That's a little too far. This looks like a real fucking knife. Just based off the glare on it. That's a little far. If it was a fake knife, it'd be I don't know. That one's a little too far. It's a little fucking crazy, dude. A real fucking knife is a little crazy. Okay.
And I just wanted to point out a couple things about these clips. I mean, obviously physical stuff happened, but look how terrified this kid is. He looks so on edge. And then the voice that comes out of his mouth when he gets sprayed with this, it's like, it's not just that he's
but it's silly string. I mean, like, whatever. I don't care about the silly string part, to be honest with you. It's not that big a deal to me.
Getting sprayed with silly string. I don't think it's that he's legitimately in fear of what's going to happen next, of what Michael Myers is going to do to him next. It's just so freaky. And then it's just the idea of him coming up behind this kid with a knife and then pulling back as if he's going to stab his nephew. I can't imagine.
Well, that's the joke, right? So my issue more than anything else is that it looks like it might be a real knife. That's the scary part. The fact that he does like this extreme prank, it's not ideal. I wouldn't say it's good, but we're not talking about if the behavior is good or bad right now. We're talking about if the behavior is like legitimate abuse or not. So like we have to be kind of careful about how far we go with like, you know, like would we you kind of said that this was abusive. I would say that that's definitely irresponsible, shitty behavior. I don't know if I'd go as far to say abuse. You know, I think we have to be careful with those words as to not diminish what they actually mean, you know, for people who suffered like truly abusive things. That's the problem with prank channels, though, is they kind of blur the lines. They can fuck the kids up, absolutely. But to compare to Daddy of 5, I mean, that's a comparison, brother. Though that kid was fucking psychologically tormented, you know.
Imagine putting that sort of fear into my fucking small nephew. What is wrong with Michael Green? And then here's sort of a different clip that kind of lends some context to the relationship between Michael and Angry Grandpa. Michael creeps up on Grandpa intending to scare him with the Michael Myers mask, and it does not go the way he intended.
Okay.
Motherfucker! You want to scare me? Let me scare you, okay? You don't fuck with me, motherfucker.
Okay.
You might get away with that goddamn youngin', but you ain't getting away with that. I'll cut your goddamn throat.
And even though this is all framed as a prank, I think I heard genuine fear in Michael's voice when Angry Grandpa.
All right, come on, relax a little bit. Now you're pro clutch. You're pro clutching a little bit at this point. I mean, you're going a little disproportionate here. He picked. I mean, the knife again. The knife is a little too far, but you know, come on. A lot of it does seem to be like kind of a prank, but you know, I don't think that they're abusive people.
But started coming at him with that knife.
Yeah,
When
Goku would have
he stuck his
chose to
hand
fight.
out and was like, okay. Like, you could tell he was kind of afraid of what could possibly happen next.
Hey, listen, you're always afraid of your parents. That's what I'll tell you. I'm still afraid of my fucking mother, even though I'm a fucking huge motherfucker. You know what I mean? If you raise your kids right, they'll be afraid of you for life. Those are some real fine words.
Regardless of if it's a prank or a joke or whatever, the kid was super freaked out by this. Michael's nephew starts crying, he gets upset, and Angry Grandpa's like yelling at him for some reason as well.
I'm gonna give you to it.
Jimmy!
Oh, I fucked up.
Buddy, it's Bubba! Buddy!
And the question is, when will Michael realize that this has gone too far? This
I mean, kids are going to be afraid of the Michael Myers costume. That's kind of the whole joke, no?
kid is freaking out, and you're still wearing the Michael Myers mask. You're like, oh, see my tattoos. It's me, Bubba. Take off the goddamn mask and stop freaking these children out. And the next clip that you're about to see, I know that everything we've seen today has been extremely disturbing and uncomfortable to watch, but in this clip, he forces these kids to play violent video games. I don't know, maybe they wanted to. I always wanted to play violent video games as a kid, but they always freaked me out, and so he makes them play violent video games, and then he locks them in the room after they start not.
He makes them play violent video games? Holy shit, what a base dad. What the fuck?
not being comfortable with what has just happened in the game.
Okay.
Michael!
Oh my goodness.
Buddy, what happened?
What happened to the game? What's the game and what happened? That's the question. I kind of need to know. I mean,
You can go.
yeah, but can't use the door now? Was it Fortnite? Oh, because the lights are out, so they're scared.
And that clip is just
Okay.
so uncomfortable because you can.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. I'd say it's shitty behavior. I wouldn't say that he's an abusive person, though. Like, I just think it's shitty. You know, you don't have to be abusive to be a shitty person. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this was, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of aspects of the YouTube culture that made shit like this more normal, which is fucked up in the first place. But that doesn't make him an abusive person. I feel like we're just going so disproportionate with this stuff. Like, sometimes people can do shitty things without being shitty people. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to say. It doesn't have to always be like that deep. You know, I feel like it's all part of like the sensationalization of YouTube, of like taking it and running it too far.
Legitimately feel the imprisonment that that kid cannot get out of that room, even though he desperately wants to. And Michael tells him, "You can get out, you can leave," even though he can't fucking open the door.
Sounds like a skill issue to me. You know what though? One time I locked myself in a cabinet as a kid, and I was like, "Mommy, get me out!" I was crying, and my mom laughed at me and took a picture. Is my mom abusive? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, sometimes it's funny to laugh at kids. It just shouldn't go too far, you know.
And the questions that I'm left with at the end of this are, why would Michael Green do this and put it on YouTube? And
For
what
money,
do we
dude,
do
obviously.
about it now that we have this information? And
We say, hey, listen, Michael, that content was inappropriate, and just don't make any more of that content. And we all understand that we're all a victim of our environment in some capacity, and that he's not a bad person. He just made some bad content. You know, we don't have to shit and cum, though. We don't have to, like, fucking diarrhea all over ourselves.
I think as far as the why is concerned, it's very simple. He was desperate for content, and he has no conscience whatsoever.
See, the second part, he has no... conscience. Jesus Christ. Why go so far? Like, why do you got to be so fucking disproportionate with this shit? And he has no fucking conscience. This piece of shit. Like, holy fuck, bro. Maybe it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a little less deep than that. I'm just saying, dude. You know, again, shitty behavior, not beyond reformation, I'll say. Does he still make this content, or is it, you know, did he change it?
Point like exactly what was going through Michael's mind, at least when he was creating the Michael Myers videos. There's no excuse or explanation whatsoever for pushing his 2-year-old nephew on the ground and putting his shoe in his 2-year-old nephew's face. That's just something that I think he thought was funny, and his sense of humor does not connect with any of us in that scenario. But
I probably a lot of people liked it and thought it was funny at the time, you know. It doesn't make it okay, but you know, what are we watching it like 10 years later? It's not good. I mean, it didn't seem like he fucking like violently kicked the kid. You still shouldn't do that. We're making it seem like this guy like fucking roundhoused him, like fucking what's his name? Walker, Texas Ranger. You know what I mean?
But as far as the Michael Myers videos are concerned, I think he thought, hey, people like seeing people get scared on YouTube, but adults, they're not going to really be freaked out by the Michael Myers thing. They know that it's not real, but children, they'll really be in fear for their lives when they see this guy rolling up on them with a freaking knife. And it just never crossed his mind the damage that he would be doing to these children in the process. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think that Angry Grandpa was probably abused. Abuse was normalized in his mind, and we have words out of Michael's...
Abuse was probably normalized at his age. I mean, are you kidding? Have you ever talked to an old person? They're fucking crazy.
Mouth saying that he was abused probably pretty severely by Angry Grandpa throughout his childhood, normalizing abuse, and then he just decided to pass that on to the next generation, which is completely unacceptable, and I'm not sure if it's forgivable or not. I don't know if people can get better after they've done horrible things like this and broadcast them to YouTube. I
mean, this is not a great thing, but like this idea that like this guy fucking murdered somebody. If you were using this energy to describe a situation and nobody told me the situation, I think that you were talking about fucking violent murder. Like, it's not good, but holy fuck, I don't know if they're beyond reformation. It's like, dude, no, it's not that fucking deep. It's not good. The behavior needs to be corrected, but it's like, holy fuck, these guys aren't serial killers. Like, it's not that fucking deep, dude. Holy shit.
Really important to note, and I already said this earlier in the video, that this is just what they're showing us on the internet.
You're right. I understand the point that you're trying to make, where it's like, it could be worse. But the thing is I don't think that this is behavior. I think that this is behavior they're only trying to film. So, like, yes, if you're comfortable with a behavior in a normal situation, chances are there might be more going on at home, right? Like, if you're in public and a mom, like, grabs a kid violently by the arm, like, swings him around, like, you could assume that maybe they're abusive. It's not an unreasonable assumption. But if you're doing, like, online content, part of it trying to be sensationalized, chances are they're taking it too far for the camera and they don't like regularly abuse the fuck out of their kids. I feel like that's a really heavy prescription to make against them.
Everybody to see. And then we get to, what do we do now that we have this information? Like, what becomes of Kid Behind a Camera? I mean, obviously, Angry Grandpa is dead. He's not alive for us to put on trial. But
should we kill him? Like, what do you want to do? What do you think? Should we fucking kill the guy? Like, what the fuck?
What should we do about this abuse that we know that Kid Behind a Camera has inflicted upon his nephews? And the best thing that I think we can do as a person that really does not know what to do personally about Michael, like, do you call child services? What do you do about this? I think we can spread awareness, maybe get it in the hands of somebody who does know what to do, like Philip.
Would I consider it some kind of emotional abuse? Maybe. I'm not really, like, listen, the behavior's not great. I'm more focused on, like, I guess the intentions behind it. Like, when you look at Daddy of 5, that shit was fucking bonkers, bro. Like, they were like their kids were that one kid, Cody, was like abused, like literally like pushed into like this place, this emotionally abusive place for such a consistent period of time in such a fucked up way. And like these pranks weren't let up. Like, that was fucked. This just seems like shitty pranks that shouldn't have happened, but like, you know, probably isn't going to be some kind of a behavior that these people are consistently engaging in like this horribly negative way forever. You know what I mean?
Franco. He was the first person that came to mind because he handled that Daddy 05 situation so well. And obviously there's a lot of comparisons between Kid Behind a Camera
Not
and
really.
Daddy 05. That's why I put
They
it
both do prank content. That's the only real comparison that I would make. I don't think it's as like crazy as we're trying to make it seem like.
in the title. But something that's concerning is I do know that Kid Behind a Camera is friends with Philip DeFranco, and that might add some complications to this whole situation. I've been trying to get in contact with Boogie2988 all week on Twitter, or I've done a couple tweets at him. I didn't want to be like super obnoxious
Is that why Boogie did the interview with the guy?
about it, but I've been tagging him and stuff, trying to get his attention because I know that he is a victim of abuse as a child, and I thought that this would be something that, like, you know, he could relate to, and maybe he would want to, like, get behind this cause.
There was a time where people looked to Boogie for this kind of stuff, huh? That's crazy. That's fucking up ours. What a world we live in, huh?
Of kind of exposing this horrible abuse that nobody seemed to notice. And Boogie has just completely ignored my tweets. I know he's a busy guy. He's a giant YouTuber, so why would he pay attention to somebody like me? But I just thought that if I could post, like, I posted a video of that kid getting pushed down by his face and having the shoe shoved in his face in a comment reply to one of Boogie's tweets about going to collaborate with Kid Behind a Camera, and he didn't notice it. I'm not sure if he saw it and just ignored it, or if he just didn't notice it because he's a super busy guy. I'm not going to throw Boogie under the bus, but...
Or maybe it's not as big of a deal as you thought it was. It's a nice thing that this guy is concerned, though. I'm not going to say that it's not, but...
It would be really nice if he would pay attention to this and just the cause in general. And I'm not, like, saying spread awareness, like, spread this video, make it go viral. Because, one, I'm not going to monetize this video. I can't even monetize videos. I'm not a YouTube partner. But if I was, I would not put fucking ads on this video in any fucking universe that you could exist in.
Why?
But if you want to make your own video about this, please do. If you want to spread Primink's video or this video, you can do that. Just try and get it in front of the eyes of somebody who can actually, like, make a difference here and would know what to do in this situation. Because I'm just kind of sitting here not knowing what to do other than just point out what is going on. And because there's a good chance that this video could be taken down by community guidelines strike or copyright strike, since other videos trying to expose this stuff that has happened to in the past, that's why I encourage you guys to make your own videos if this is something that you're passionate about. Tweet at the people that can make a difference, like Boogie2988, McJuggernuggets, Philip DeFranco, Keemstar, all of which are friends with Michael Kid Behind a Camera, but I feel like if they have the information in front of their face over and over and over again, they can't ignore it forever. So do whatever you can if this is something that makes you want to make a difference and do something about this situation. Skate on, rollerbladers. I hope you're drinking more water. And
Skate on, rollerbladers.
Topic because I've been obsessed with this for the past week. I can't get my mind off of it. So be careful out there, guys, and don't ignore abuse.
All right, well, he sounds like a nice guy, but I feel like might not have been as deep as we thought. Not good. Again, the behavior, not great. I wouldn't push it to this, like, area of, like, horrible atrocity-esque, though. Like, the behavior's not good. I wouldn't call it abusive. I'd say it's shitty behavior. I certainly don't think that this makes the person an abuser, though. That's a little disproportionate.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.